Well, we've got the Pirates in spring training down in Florida. We've got the IUP baseball team. They're in North Carolina this weekend. They've got that big series of 3 games in 3 days. So let's talk golf. Why not? We're in the springtime, aren't we, Dan Braun?
That's right. It's time. It's getting closer.
It's always springtime when you're a golf coach. Let's talk a little golf with Dan Braun, the new head golf coach at IUP.
Good morning, Todd. Thanks for having me come in.
It's good to have you with us here this morning. Tell me about taking the job. That had to be a decision for you.
It really was. It's, it's something I played at Penn State, which is becoming many moons ago. Mm-hmm. But it's something that one of the big influences in my life was my college coach, Mary Kennedy at the time, now Mary Kennedy Zerke. And, it's just something that I always had an interest in, especially at the collegiate level. I never thought I'd get the opportunity. So when I found out that Coach Joseph was retiring, mm-hmm. and we had spoken about it because I was Fred's assistant for 6.5 years going into this, we talked about the possibilities, and he gave me some big votes of confidence, which meant a lot to me. And I decided that it's something at this stage of my career, after 27 wonderful years as a head golf professional at Indiana Country Club, that I thought that I wanted to take on. My family was behind me. It took, my wife Vicki and I had several conversations about it, and she loved the idea, and I loved the idea, and so I applied and went through the process and was lucky enough to be chosen to succeed Fred Joseph. It's, I'm walking into a program that has 33 NCAA Division II national championship appearances, 28 PSAC championships. So to me, it felt like walking in as being the next coach of the New England Patriots.
Yeah, well, there are some big spikes to fill in Fred's. But, I was going to ask you, how long at Indiana Country Club? That's really unusual.
It is unusual. It didn't used to be. Mm-hmm. But by today's standards, you don't see that very often. And I went there as a 22-year-old assistant golf professional in 1990, and was fortunate enough to be given that opportunity 2 years later, and I just found a home, not only at the club but in the community as well. So talk about these early days of the winter, and as we head towards spring and putting together a golf team at IUP. The cupboard is never bare. And certainly you've got guys on the golf team right now, but all of a sudden you have to wear a whole different kind of hat, don't you? There's a recruiting hat, there's the teaching aspect of it all, and the coordination of a golf program. Yes, it's quite different. But it combines my favorite aspects of the golf industry: teaching, mentoring, training. Fitness training. So it's just a great combination to move into. I was fortunate enough to help Coach Joseph with recruiting in the past. This past season, I did a lot of the recruiting for him, and he kind of turned the reins over to me and said, you make the decisions on who's coming in. Mm-hmm. So we have a couple great young student athletes coming in next fall to add to our full cupboard right now. So it's a very talented team, and they're a wonderful bunch of young men. They really are. I've enjoyed every minute, spending every minute with them, and getting to know them further. I've known them all, of course, but when you're spending practice times of 3 and 4 hours and fitness times at 6 o'clock and 6:30 in the morning with them, you really get to know them. And in some cases, I'm sure it could turn out differently, but they're the types of young men that the more you get to know them, the more that you really like them, and you want to be around them more. So
he is the coach of the IUP golf team, Dan Braun, with us this morning. When a young man comes into the program, and especially at your level, at the collegiate level, he's already got a golf game when he gets here. He's been taught by someone or he's self-taught, but he's obviously shown a lot of talent and the ability to put together a golf game. And he's got his swing, and every swing is different. He's got his approach, and every approach is different. And you know, whether it's the long game, the short game, or putting, you have to assess each one. And while you are coaching and teaching, you also have to understand that he has a game already that you don't want to mess up. It must be quite the challenge as a coach.
It is a challenge. It's they're coming in. You're absolutely right. A lot of them have worked extensively with swing coaches and fitness coaches in the past, and still, when they go home for summer break, they're going to pick up working with their instructors. Mm-hmm. Try to help them as much as you can. We have some equipment that allows me to help them maybe more than what their instructors do at home. So, it's you really have to read them, and it's part of relationship building and being able to read personalities and read somebody's interests in making changes, albeit subtle most of the times. Mm-hmm. And they know that I just want to make them better. Yeah. So they are very open. All of them are very open to a critique, constructive criticism, and improvement. So drills and exercises that they can do to improve. We're all golfers. We're all golf junkies. We all want to get better. The day you stop wanting the desire to get better, you should just stop playing.
You just walk away from golf.
I mean, even if you just do it to have fun, and that's the point of the game. But we all want to feel good about ourselves out there, and we all try. And I've never known a golfer that doesn't go out on the golf course and not try to get better. So,
international players in IUP golf, as opposed to players who are born here in the United States, is the coaching that they've received coming into the program all that much different?
It really isn't. Social media has really changed that a lot. There's some great teachers that have Instagram. They all have Instagram pages. They all are on Twitter. They all put out videos. And young men and young ladies from around the world can get on and buy into somebody's techniques. Mm-hmm. And not only are they learning off of social media, but I'm sure that the teachers that they're working with are learning from some of these prominent teachers through social media. And I've gotten a lot of my influence in my instruction through social media avenues. So it's made the golf world smaller, much smaller.
As you work with golfers from the standpoint of the golf pro at the Indiana Country Club, as opposed to working with young men and women who have come into the program at IUP with games that are, by comparison, much more advanced, I'm sure there are different approaches that you must take to coaching as well.
Yes, there are. What I focus on, and the guys will tell you this, I am big on process. There's a process to succeed, and that's game plan for the particular course that we're playing, competing on that particular tournament. Also pre-shot routines and how they can help us. They can create crutches for us to get through rounds, whether we're playing a great round. It can make a great round better, and it can make a not so great round turn into a very acceptable or good round just by focusing on processes. So the team got together and they came to me and they said, I think we want to make a new T-shirt for the team. And we're going to have IUP golf. We want the hawk head on the front and on the back. We want process. We want process across our shoulder blades, real big. And I said, hey, let's design it. Let's go ahead and do it. And then one of them came up to, they are all thinking, we all want to shoot 62.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
In one round. Wouldn't that be great? I said, well, why don't you put a little 248 because we count the best 4 or 5 scores. Why don't you put a little 248 down on the tail and come up with that? And we all got a good chuckle out of it. But they're a very determined bunch. They all want to get better, and they are working so hard this off season, both in the gym and in the little studio that we put together down on campus. So
we ought to explain to people as well that in my case it was 62 over 9 holes. So
62 at some point during the round,
there
right?
You
just stop. If it's 10, 12, 15 holes, you just stop and tell people you shot 62.
How'd you shoot today? Another 62.
That's
and
right.
It only took me 40 minutes. Dan Braun is with us today. Well, it just seems like it's a fascinating thing, and golf comes at you in layers, and you sort through the layers and find out what's going on with the swing or with where your head is, and with all of the different things, the mechanics, and you try not to think about it and don't skip steps in the process.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, best of luck to you on the job. It just sounds like it's a lot of fun to do what you do.
It really is. I've been there. This is my 4th week. And I tell my wife, I go home at night, and she says, "How was work today?" I said, "Well, I really didn't go to work today. It doesn't feel like it." So I've enjoyed every moment of it. I've enjoyed the people, the other coaches at the university have welcomed me with open arms, all the staff. It's just a wonderful place to be, and I'm proud to be a part of that program and that university.
Probably itching to get out on a course again.
Absolutely.
Too,
this weather's great, although I think it's going to get a little bit colder. But there's no white stuff on the ground, so there's hope.
It's coming. It's coming. Dan Braun, thanks so much for coming in to visit with us.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate it.
We appreciate the visit. It is the voice of Indiana County.